You know the type. The productivity gurus, the masters of efficiency. Their lives look like a perfectly curated highlight reel of 5 a.m. workouts and color-coded calendars. But what if I told you that many of their most celebrated habits are actually a trap? What if the very things they swear by are secretly sabotaging them, leading them straight to burnout, and stealing their power? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 10 productive habits that are nothing more than a dangerous illusion. And the first one might just be the most surprising of all. For years, we've been sold a very specific picture of success. It's the person who's always on, always connected, always doing more. We've been taught to buy into hustle culture, where being busy is a badge of honor and your to-do list is a measure of your self-worth. We've downloaded the apps, read the books, and tried to copy the routines of the world's most successful people, believing that if we just organized our lives a little better, woke up a little earlier, and replied to emails a little faster, we could achieve greatness, too. But there's a dark side to this obsession. A dangerous confusion has taken root, blurring the line between being busy and being productive. We've gotten hooked on the feeling of motion, mistaking activity for actual achievement. We're caught in a cycle of busywork, chasing tiny wins that give us a temporary high but leave us feeling drained, exhausted, and no closer to our real goals. This isn't about being lazy. It's about a massive misunderstanding of what it takes to build something that's both meaningful and sustainable. The habits we're told to celebrate are often the very chains that keep us stuck in mediocrity, even though they feel like progress. They create the illusion of control while systematically draining our energy, fracturing our focus, and pulling us away from the deep, important work that truly moves the needle. Today, we're tearing down that illusion. We're going to expose the 10 worst habits that disguise themselves as productivity. These are the celebrated practices that are actually wrecking your success, stealing your power, and pushing you toward burnout. By understanding these traps, you can start to reclaim your time, your energy, and your focus, and build a life that's not just productive, but powerful. Section 1. The illusion of multitasking. Let's kick things off with the cardinal sin of modern productivity: multitasking. It's a habit we wear like a badge of honor. Juggling emails during a Zoom call, listening to a podcast while writing a report, planning dinner during a team briefing. It feels powerful, right? Like you're a master of efficiency, bending time to your will. The myth is that by doing several things at once, you're getting more done. You're the high-stakes juggler, keeping all the balls in the air while others can only handle one. But here's the toxic reality: you're not multitasking, you're task switching. And that difference is everything. Your brain isn't a dual-core processor, it's a single-core machine that can only truly focus on one thing at a time. What you feel as multitasking is actually your brain frantically switching its attention back and forth. And this switching comes at a huge neurological cost. Research shows that heavy task switching can slash your productivity by as much as 40%. Think about that. In an 8-hour workday, you could be losing more than 3 hours just to the friction of changing gears. Every time you're pulled away from a task by a notification or another demand, it's not just the interruption that costs you time. It's the recovery. Studies have shown it can take anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes to fully get your focus back after a single distraction. That email you quickly answered didn't just take 30 seconds, it may have just torched the next half hour of deep, focused work. This constant switching doesn't just make you less efficient, it can actually make you dumber. Seriously. Studies on chronic multitaskers found that it can temporarily lower your effective IQ by up to 10 points, which is more impact than losing a full night of sleep. It also increases the chance of making mistakes by a staggering 50%. So, the report you wrote while multitasking not only took you longer, but it's also twice as likely to be full of errors. You're not being efficient, you're just doing multiple things poorly. The powerful alternative is to embrace single tasking, or what's often called deep work. This means giving your full, undivided attention to one important task for a solid chunk of time. Instead of trying to juggle, you commit to one ball at a time, handling it with care. The key is to create an environment that fiercely protects your focus. This means turning off notifications, closing extra browser tabs, and letting your colleagues know you're in a focus block. A great way to do this is with time blocking. Instead of a messy to-do list, use your calendar to schedule specific, non-negotiable blocks of time for your most important work. A 90-minute block dedicated only to writing that proposal. A 60-minute block for analyzing data. During that time, that task is the only thing that exists. You will be amazed at what you can accomplish when you give your brain the space to do what it does best: focus. True power doesn't come from juggling, it comes from the incredible depth you can achieve when you commit to one thing at a time. Section 2. The paralysis of perfectionism. On the surface, perfectionism seems like a good thing, right? It's the drive for excellence, the refusal to settle for less. We picture the person who stays late to get the presentation just right, the writer who obsesses over every single word, the entrepreneur who won't launch until every feature is flawless. The myth is that this relentless chase for the ideal is a sign of high standards. We even brag about it in job interviews. My biggest weakness? I'm just too much of a perfectionist. But the toxic reality is that perfectionism is often just a fancy name for fear-driven procrastination. It's not really about creating the best work, it's about avoiding the judgment that might come with putting any work out into the world. It's the fear of being seen as incompetent, the fear of criticism, the fear of failure. This fear traps you in an endless cycle of tweaking, refining, and one last check, which stops you from ever calling something done. Perfectionism is a trap that paralyzes a huge number of people. It's strongly linked to increased stress, anxiety, and even depression, because the impossible standards you set for yourself lead to constant feelings of inadequacy. Instead of motivating you, it freezes you. The sheer weight of creating a perfect outcome makes it feel impossible to even start. The powerful alternative isn't to embrace sloppiness, but to adopt a mindset of prototype and iterate. The goal isn't to nail a perfect final product on the first try, but to get a version 1.0 out the door. The most successful creators and entrepreneurs get this. They launch the minimally viable product, they publish the good enough article, they ship the first version of the software. They know that real progress comes from feedback, and you can't get feedback on something that's still sitting on your hard drive. A powerful strategy to fight this is the eat the frog method, popularized by Brian Tracy. The idea is to find your most important, and often most difficult, task of the day, your frog, and do it first thing. By getting the hardest thing done first, you build momentum and a sense of accomplishment that fuels you through the rest of the day. Another technique is to set a time-bound deadline. Instead of saying, "I'll work on this report until it's perfect," tell yourself, "I will work on this report for 2 hours, and then I will submit whatever I have." This forces you to focus on progress, not perfection. It frees you from that endless loop of refinement and pushes you to take action. Remember, done is better than perfect. True power isn't in the flawless idea that never sees the light of day, but in the imperfect action that moves you forward. Section 3. The chase for inbox zero. There are few feelings as seductive in the modern workplace as an empty email inbox. Hitting inbox zero feels like a victory. You've answered every query, sorted every message, and cleared the decks. The myth is that an empty inbox is the sign of a productive person. It suggests you're on top of everything, responsive, and in total command. It's sold as the ultimate power move in a world of digital chaos. But the toxic reality is that chasing inbox zero is one of the sneakiest forms of busywork out there. It turns you from a proactive, strategic thinker into a reactive, digital switchboard operator. Instead of focusing on your most important work, you spend your day managing everyone else's priorities. The average office worker gets around 121 emails a day and spends up to 28% of their workweek That's over 11 hours, just on email. Chasing inbox zero just makes this worse. This habit is a perfect example of the mere urgency effect, a brain glitch where we prioritize tasks that feel urgent but aren't actually important. Replying to an email feels urgent, but is it more important than that strategic plan due next month? Probably not. Yet, we get a little dopamine hit from clearing an email, which reinforces the habit, trapping us in a cycle of reactive, low-impact work. One analysis found that only about 24% of the emails we get are actually important. This means by chasing inbox zero, you could be dedicating most of your time to the 76% of your inbox that is essentially noise. Plus, constant email checking destroys your focus. Some data shows the average employee checks their email dozens of times an hour, with many keeping their email open in the background all day. Every time you switch to your inbox, you're fragmenting your attention and draining your mental batteries. The chase for an empty inbox ensures you are never truly engaged in deep work. The powerful alternative is to treat your email like a scheduled task, not a fire hose of interruptions. Instead of letting your inbox run your day, you decide when to deal with it. This is called batching. Schedule 2 or 3 specific 20-30 minute blocks in your day just for email. Maybe once at 10 a.m., once at 2 p.m., and a quick scan at the end of the day. Outside of those blocks, your email is closed. Notifications are off. You're unavailable. This might feel radical, even irresponsible at first. What if someone needs you? The truth is, very few things are so urgent they can't wait a few hours. If it's a true emergency, they'll call. This approach lets you reclaim huge, uninterrupted blocks of time for your real priorities. It shifts you from being a reactive responder to a proactive agenda setter. True control over your day isn't found in an empty inbox, it's found in the valuable work you do when you refuse to let your inbox set your priorities. Section 4. The Planning Fallacy. Having a detailed, ambitious plan feels like peak productivity. You sit down on a Sunday night and map out your entire week. Every hour is accounted for, back-to-back meetings, project work, gym sessions, even 30 minutes for lunch. The to-do list is long, but it's organized. The myth is that this kind of over-the-top, optimistic scheduling is a sign of ambition and control. It makes you feel like you're in command of your week, ready to crush every task. The toxic reality is that this is a classic cognitive bias known as the planning fallacy. First identified by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, it's our universal tendency to underestimate how long things will take while overestimating the benefits. We create our schedules based on a perfect, best-case scenario, completely ignoring our past experiences and the very high probability of interruptions, delays, and surprise problems. Think about the last time a project took exactly as long as you planned. It almost never happens. Yet, we keep packing our schedules as if we live in a flawless, interruption-free bubble. The result is a total mess. When the first task takes longer than expected, the whole day's schedule dominoes into chaos. This creates a ton of stress and a feeling of failure before the day has even really started. We end the day feeling behind and defeated, having failed to live up to our own crazy expectations. This leads straight to burnout. This fallacy isn't just a personal problem. It's a huge issue in the business world, leading to massive budget overruns and missed deadlines. We get so focused on the details of the current task that we fail to look at what's called the outside view, how long similar tasks actually took in the past. The powerful alternative is to build realism and flexibility into your planning. Instead of scheduling every minute, build in buffer zones. If you think a task will take an hour, schedule 90 minutes. This accounts for the little things that inevitably pop up. You can also try a technique called reference class forecasting. Before you guess how long a task will take, look back at similar tasks. How long did they really take? Base your new estimate on that data, not your hopes. Another great approach is to ditch the exhaustive to-do lists and instead focus on your top 1-3 priorities for the day. Ask yourself, if I could only get 3 things done today to move my goals forward, what would they be? Make these your non-negotiables. Anything else is a bonus. This brings clarity and focus, and prevents the overwhelm of a 20-item list. True power isn't in a rigid, jam-packed schedule that shatters at the first bump. It's in a realistic, resilient plan that lets you make real progress, even when life gets messy. Section 5. The addiction to digital distractions. We live with a constant companion, our smartphone. It sits on our desk, in our pocket, a gateway to infinite information and connection. We tell ourselves that a quick scroll through social media is a harmless break, that keeping notifications on is just part of being responsive. The myth is that these quick checks are manageable and necessary to stay in the loop. We believe we're in control of our devices. The toxic reality is that we are not in control. Our devices are controlling us. Each notification, every ping, buzz, and banner, is a carefully engineered interruption designed to hijack your attention. A study from Florida State University found that just being aware of a notification, even if you don't look at your phone, is enough to seriously disrupt your performance on a tough task. Your brain is pulled away, and as we've already discussed, it can take over 20 minutes to get back into a state of deep focus. The numbers are pretty alarming. The average smartphone user now gets anywhere from 50 to 80 plus app notifications per day. Some research suggests we check our phones around 85 times a day, often without even realizing we're doing it. This isn't a failure of willpower, it's a biological loop. Every time you check a notification, you get a small hit of dopamine, the feel-good chemical in your brain. This creates a powerful reward cycle that trains you to crave more interruptions, basically turning your phone into a slot machine in your pocket. You get addicted to the distraction itself. This constant fragmentation of your attention makes deep, creative, and strategic work nearly impossible. Your brain gets conditioned for shallow, reactive thinking, just flitting from one thing to the next. This leads to mental fatigue, increased stress, and it can even mess with your sleep. The very tool that promises connection is leaving you scattered and stressed. The powerful alternative is to create a clear separation between you and your device. The most effective strategy is to turn off all non-essential notifications. Do you really need an instant alert that someone liked your photo or that a news story just broke? Almost always, the answer is no. Go into your phone's settings and ruthlessly shut down notifications for every app that isn't absolutely critical. Take it a step further by scheduling phone-free blocks of time. When you're working on something important, put your phone in another room. The physical distance removes the temptation and the subconscious distraction of just seeing it. Research has shown that even having your phone in sight, face down on the table, can reduce your available brainpower. Finally, schedule time to check your phone, just like you would with email. Instead of letting it interrupt you all day, you decide when to engage. Maybe you scroll social media for 10 minutes on your lunch break. By setting these boundaries, you turn your phone from your master back into a tool. True power isn't about being constantly connected. It's about having the discipline to disconnect so you can actually concentrate on what matters. Section 6. The procrastination of research. We've all been there. Endless web browsing that hides behind a very productive sounding excuse. I'm just doing research. You need to write a report, so you spend hours reading articles, watching related videos, and falling down a rabbit hole of interesting but ultimately irrelevant info. You're gathering inspiration for a project, which somehow involves scrolling through social media for an hour. The myth is that this is a necessary and productive part of the process. It feels like work because you're consuming content related to your task. The toxic reality is that this is one of the most common and tempting forms of procrastination. It's a way to delay the hard, mental work of actually creating something by engaging in the easy, passive work of consuming. While some research is obviously necessary, there's a point of diminishing returns that most of us blow past at full speed. This research becomes the perfect excuse to avoid the vulnerability and effort of actually starting. This habit is particularly dangerous because it feels so easy to justify. You're not watching cat videos, you're learning. But the outcome is the same, your main task is still sitting there, untouched. It's a form of what some call productivity porn, the act of consuming content about being productive instead of actually being productive. It gives you the illusion of progress without any real output. You feel like you did something, but all you've really done is consume, not create. The time lost to this is massive. Unstructured web browsing is one of the biggest workplace distractions, pulling people away from the deep work that drives real results. Every new tab you open is a potential context switch, fracturing your focus and draining your mental energy. It hijacks your brain's reward system just like other digital distractions, offering a steady stream of novelty that makes the hard work of creating seem way less appealing. The powerful alternative is to be ruthless about your research. Before you open a single browser tab, define exactly what you're looking for. Set a clear question you need answered or a specific piece of information you need to find. Then, set a strict time limit. Use a timer and give yourself 20 or 30 minutes. When the timer goes off, research is over. You have to start creating with the information you have. This forces you to be efficient and focused. It prevents the aimless wandering that eats up your day. Another great technique is to separate the research and writing phases completely. Dedicate one block of time only to gathering information. Then, close all your browser tabs and open a clean document. Work only from your notes. This creates a clear wall between consuming and creating, stopping you from falling back into the research trap when the writing gets tough. Protect your flow states, those magical periods where you're deeply immersed and at your most creative. The best way to do this is by using website blockers during your focus blocks. These tools aren't a sign of weakness, they're a strategic defense against the billions of dollars that have been invested into making the internet as distracting as possible. True power isn't measured by how much information you can consume, but by your ability to turn that information into something real. Section 7. The cult of too many meetings in the corporate world. The calendar is often a battlefield, and meetings are the weapon of choice. A packed meeting schedule can feel like a sign of importance. If you're in back-to-back meetings, you must be a key player, right? Collaboration is essential, and meetings are where it happens. The myth is that more meetings equal more collaboration and, therefore, more progress. Being in the room is the same as being productive. The toxic reality is that most meetings are a colossal waste of time, money, and mental energy. They are the single biggest productivity killer in most companies. Unproductive meetings cost U.S. businesses anywhere from $37 billion to over $100 billion a year. The average employee spends around 31 to 35 hours per month in meetings they feel are unproductive. That's almost a full work week, every single month, spent on stuff that adds little to no value. The problem is huge. A staggering 71% of senior managers say their meetings are unproductive and inefficient. Many meetings happen without a clear agenda or purpose. Invite lists get bloated, pulling people into discussions where they have nothing to add. And the rise of remote work has only made it worse, with some data suggesting a massive increase in the number of meetings since 2019. This isn't just a time suck, it's an energy drain. Meeting fatigue is a real thing, with the majority of workers saying that meeting overload prevents them from getting their actual work done. A day filled with scattered meetings breaks your schedule into tiny, useless chunks of time, making it impossible to do the deep, focused work needed for complex problems. It's no wonder that over 90% of employees admit to multitasking during meetings, which means they aren't fully engaged anyway. The powerful alternative is to treat meetings as a last resort, not the default. Before you schedule a meeting, ask yourself, Can this be handled with an email, a shared document, or a quick chat? A lot of issues that currently spawn 30-minute meetings could be solved in a 5-minute talk or a well-written message. If a meeting is truly necessary, it has to be structured for efficiency. Every invite needs a clear agenda with specific goals. What decision needs to be made? What problem needs to be solved? If there's no clear purpose, the meeting shouldn't happen. Follow the 2 pizza rule, made famous by Jeff Bezos. Never have a meeting where 2 pizzas couldn't feed the whole group. This forces you to be ruthless about who you invite, making sure only essential people are there. Finally, empower yourself and your team to decline meeting invitations. If you look at an agenda and can't see a clear reason for you to be there, you should be able to say no. This requires a cultural shift where people's time is respected as the company's most valuable asset. True power doesn't come from a full calendar. It comes from having a clear calendar that gives you the space to do your most important work. Section 8. The whip of negative self-talk. Many high achievers have a relentless inner critic. It's that voice that tells you you're not working hard enough, that your last project was a disaster, that you're an imposter who's about to be found out. We often disguise this inner critic as a motivator. The myth is that this tough love is what drives us to succeed. We believe being hard on ourselves keeps us sharp and prevents complacency. It's our internal drill sergeant. The toxic reality is that negative self-talk is not a motivator, it's a saboteur. It is incredibly destructive to your performance, your mental health, and your ability to grow. Far from pushing you to do better, it actually rewires your brain for failure. Neuroscience shows that when you get lost in self-criticism, your brain goes into its threat mode, releasing cortisol and messing with the part of your brain responsible for planning and decision-making. This kind of self-criticism can actually reduce your brain's executive function. This creates a vicious cycle. You make a mistake, your inner critic tears you down, which raises your stress and impairs your thinking, making you more likely to make another mistake. With every self-critical thought, you strengthen the neural pathways for negativity. Over time, your brain gets conditioned to expect failure. This constant internal beatdown is strongly linked to higher risks of anxiety and depression, and it sabotages your ability to reach your goals. It's not tough love, it's self-inflicted psychological abuse. The powerful alternative is to practice self-compassion. This isn't about letting yourself off the hook or making excuses. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness you'd give to a friend who messed up. It's about recognizing that failure and setbacks are a normal and necessary part of growing, not a verdict on your self-worth. A practical way to do this is to reframe your inner dialogue. When you catch that inner critic starting its attack, pause and challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Would I say this to a coworker I respect? Then, reframe it from a place of learning. Instead of, I can't believe I messed that up, I'm such an idiot, try, okay, that didn't go as planned. What can I learn from this so I can do better next time? This shift in language isn't just a mind game, it changes your brain chemistry. It moves you out of the threat response and into a mindset of curiosity and problem solving. It lets you analyze your mistakes without the paralyzing weight of shame. Studies show that self-compassion, far from making you lazy, is actually linked to greater motivation, resilience, and a stronger desire to improve. True power doesn't come from beating yourself up, it comes from the quiet strength to lift yourself up, learn, and keep moving forward. Section 9. The endless quest for productivity. Hacks. The internet is flooded with silver bullets for productivity. A new app that will perfectly organize your life. A revolutionary note-taking system to unlock your genius. A morning routine so optimized it'll turn you into a superhuman. We spend hours watching videos, reading articles, and downloading new tools, all in the hunt for the perfect system. The myth is that the right hack or tool is the missing piece of the puzzle. If we can just find the perfect framework, all our problems will disappear. The toxic reality is that constantly chasing new hacks is just a sophisticated form of procrastination. It's an obsession with the tools and theories of productivity rather than the actual act of producing anything. We get a dopamine hit from the novelty of a new system or the promise of a quick fix, which feels way better than the hard, messy work of just sitting down and doing the thing. This quest is a trap for a few reasons. First, it leads to endless system tinkering. You spend more time setting up and customizing your new productivity app than you do actually working. The system itself becomes the work. Second, it promotes the false idea that an external tool can fix an internal problem. No app can give you discipline. No framework can give you focus if you haven't built the internal habits to support it. Often, these complex systems just add more friction. And when these perfect systems inevitably fail, because real life is messy and unpredictable, we don't blame the system. We blame ourselves. We conclude that we're the problem, which sends us right back to the internet searching for the next perfect hack, trapping us in a cycle of hope and disappointment. The powerful alternative is to radically simplify. The most productive people often have the simplest systems. They get that the goal isn't to have a perfect system, but to consistently execute on the fundamentals. Instead of searching for a new app, try a no new tools rule for the next 30 days. Work with what you already have. A simple notebook, a basic calendar, and a plain text file are often more than enough. Adopt a minimalist approach to your daily planning. For example, at the start of each day, just identify your 3 most important tasks, or MITs. Write them on a sticky note and put it on your monitor. Your entire focus for the day is just to get those 3 things done. This cuts through the noise and forces you to prioritize what really matters. Focus on execution over optimization. It's far better to have a good enough system that you actually use consistently than a perfect system that you're always changing. True power doesn't come from finding the ultimate productivity hack. It comes from the unglamorous, day in and day out discipline of just showing up and doing the work. Section 10. The tyranny of the to-do list. The classic to-do list seems like the most basic productivity tool there is. We start our day by listing everything that needs doing, from reply to that urgent email to buy groceries. As we check things off, we get a satisfying little rush of progress. The myth is that clearing our to-do list is the goal. We believe that by tackling all the small, easy tasks first, we build momentum to power through the big ones. The toxic reality is that this approach makes you a slave to the trivial. By focusing on clearing the list, you fall right into the trap of prioritizing what is easy and immediate over what is difficult and important. You spend your most energetic and focused hours of the day on low-impact, snack tasks, like answering minor emails or organizing files, because they give you a quick hit of accomplishment. This leaves you with little time or mental energy for the main course work, the complex, strategic projects that actually move your career forward. This is a problem that even highly productive people fall into because it feels so good. But activity is not the same as achievement. At the end of the day, you might have a list full of check marks, but did you actually make progress on your most important goals? Or have you just been busy being busy? This habit guarantees that the truly important work gets constantly pushed to later, a time that rarely ever comes. The powerful alternative is to flip your approach from bottom up to top down. This means you start your day by focusing exclusively on your highest impact task, no matter how big or difficult it is. A powerful way to filter your priorities is the 25/5 rule, often attributed to Warren Buffett. The strategy is simple. Write down your top 25 goals. Then, circle the 5 most important ones. These 5 are your absolute priority. But here's the crucial step. The other 20 goals are not your B-list priorities to work on when you have time. They become your avoid at all costs list. These are the good ideas and appealing projects that are most dangerous because they will distract you from your truly great goals. They get zero attention from you until you've succeeded with your top 5. This rule is a powerful tool for saying no. Saying no is arguably the single most effective productivity strategy in existence. It's about saying no to distracting projects, no to low-impact meetings, and no to the endless list of small tasks begging for your attention. By ruthlessly focusing on your top priorities, you make sure your limited time and energy are spent where they'll make the biggest difference. True power isn't about how many tasks you can cross off a list. It's about having the clarity and discipline to ignore the trivial many in favor of the vital few. It's about understanding that true productivity is not about doing more things, but about doing more of the right things. So there you have it, the 10 so-called productive habits that are actually holding you back. From the illusion of multitasking to the tyranny of the to-do list, these traps are designed to keep you busy, not effective. But now that you can see them, you can escape them. The journey to real productivity isn't about adding more hacks or systems. It's about subtraction. It's about removing the things that drain your energy and steal your focus. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 10 habits are you most guilty of? And which one are you committed to quitting, starting today? Let me know in the comments below. Your story might just be the inspiration someone else needs. And if you found this video valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content that helps you work smarter, not just harder. The path to real success and fulfillment isn't paved with hustle culture cliches. It's not found in a 4 a.m. alarm or an empty inbox. It's found in the quiet, deliberate, and often unseen work of focusing on what truly matters. The world will always try to pull you in a million different directions, demanding your attention and celebrating how busy you are. It will sell you the lie that being constantly on, always available, and perpetually overwhelmed is the price of ambition. But true power lies in resisting that pull. It's the power to disconnect when the world demands you stay plugged in. It's the power to focus on a single task when 1,000 distractions are calling your name. It's the power to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to the great ones. And it's the power to be compassionate with yourself in a culture that glorifies being your own worst critic. Reclaiming your productivity is about reclaiming your own agency. It's about shifting from being reactive to being proactive. It's a declaration that you will be the one who sets your agenda, protects your focus, and defines your own version of success, one that is sustainable, meaningful, and powerful. Thanks for watching.